Hey, good morning. Welcome to the test garden. Today we're going to go through how to plant your cool weather crops. That includes how to get your bed ready. So what we did this past year was we did chop and drop with the plant material from last year's garden and then covered it in leaves. So I already prepared half of this, but the other half I'll kind of generally show you what to do. I pulled out the stakes, but I'm taking this burlap off. So this is what our garden looks like now. We use the burlap to just really keep all of that material in without blowing away. It gets really windy out here. So I tend to go through and separate things out a little bit. I like to use leaves later, once my plants are really growing, as leaf mulch. Right now I don't want to keep that on there because it can prevent some of the seeds from germinating. But I will take some of these leaves, the ones that I can get, and I put them in one bin that I'll hold on to. And then a lot of this other plant material that did not decompose, like I'll pull out and either compost or dispose of. So you can see like all of this used to be growing. Over the winter it really started to break down. But I've got some thyme in here. I think there were some basil plants. I can't even really tell what some of this stuff is, but all the woody stuff I'm just going to go ahead and put in one, and then the leaves I put in the other. And then after that, I'm just going to fast forward here for you. I just kind of go through, and this is nice and soft from all of that chop and drop, so that's one of the benefits. Is that it's really helping to condition the soil. So I did that. I also have a little bit of slow release fertilizer. So I just sprinkle a little bit of that on top of the soil surface according to the instructions on the bag. And then blend that through a little bit. And just the top 2 inches or so. And then smooth it out with my hands. So this is partially done, this side, but this side I finished already. And it is the time in the season where we can plant a lot of our cool weather crops. So what I have here, this is actually a compost thermometer, but the soil temperature is really what we're looking at. We often use dates as a proxy for soil temperature, but our weather is so up and down, it's really hard to kind of predict. So if you have this, even a meat thermometer actually works just fine as long as it goes down into the 30s and 40s. But right now we're almost to 50 degrees. So that means we can plant a lot of things. We're actually we could have planted spinach and peas earlier. That's what I'm going to do now. But all of your cool weather crops can basically get started very soon. So what I wanted to show you, and I think one of the things I always think about now is just managing weeds. So I have sugar snap peas. This is the first thing to plant in the spring. I would recommend doing these in rows because then you can weed between the rows. So what I did here is I like to, especially with students, giving them a real clear direction on where they're going to plant is helpful. These irrigation tubes I use as a guide, but you can also put a piece of string down and they can lay things against it. I did about 1 inch, no more than 1 inch kind of deep furrow. And then I have peas. You can soak these if you want to speed up the germination. And then just you can put one every couple inches. And then after that, you just close your furrow up and pat it down. The other method with students is that they could just sprinkle it everywhere. And this is more of a square inch gardening kind of method, which is fine, especially if you've been keeping up with your weeds over the years. And then they can just poke the seeds down kind of to the depth of the top of the fingernail, and then cover them over and pat them down. So that's one way to do that with peas. Those are easy, especially for little hands to be able to hold and manipulate. Smaller seeds tend to be a little harder. And then these are spinach seeds. And so you can do kind of either method. The fastest method, which is what I usually do, is just come along and again, like along this tube, or you could save in between these tubes. I'm gonna come along and just sprinkle. And these are leafy greens, so you can do more than you would with peas. And then with my fingers or with a little garden rake, just kind of blending that in a little bit and patting it down. And if you want to be a little bit more directive, you can be, but you can always go back later and thin out the things that the plants that are growing too close, or if you have too many of them, and you can harvest those as baby greens too. So thank you for coming out today, and get excited to be back outside soon.